Yes,
Yeah, there
we're
you go.
recording now. We're recording again. So,
I
whoo,
think we
that
were
was something.
introducing ourselves.
Yeah, should we do it again?
Who
Sure.
hasn't been introduced?
Who has not been introduced?
I'm
I
Kathy.
haven't either.
Go ahead.
Oh, Kathy, go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, I'm Kathy Ramsberger. I am author of The Shores of Our Souls, which is bonus book of the year from last year. And A Thousand Flying Things, which is out this summer, is the October featured book of the month. So nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Yay,
Well,
congratulations.
I can't, you deserve the laughter award, Marilyn. I mean, you make me laugh every time I read anything you write or anytime you talk. Love it. I love it.
Thank you.
More
Thank
laugh.
you, Kathy.
And,
Yeah,
and I'm
listen-
the one that keeps you all in business. I'm the reader.
Yes, there she is.
I don't know what I missed earlier, but I'm here now. Laura Bernhardt.
Hi,
Hi,
Laura.
Laura.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I somehow missed all of the wildness. I don't know what happened, but
You're
Oh,
lucky.
we had a
You're
naked
lucky.
man.
I was a couple of
naked
minutes
man.
late and then I couldn't get in and then it was ended and I didn't know what was happening, but sounds
We
like
didn't
nothing
either,
good.
but our experience was a little different.
We had a little show being put on for us by a naked man.
Oh my, oh,
Oh, a real show.
Big show.
And I was going, what do I do? What do I do? So we just ended it. And
yeah.
so if it ever ends, somebody popped up that shouldn't, but I let a group in at once and he was in there. So sorry, guys. But I'm glad to have you here, Laura. And I'm telling you, I thought about you a lot when I was at Angie's event because so many Indian authors were there. You would have loved it. And then, yeah, so we'll talk more later. Suzanne Kamada's here.
Yeah, I'm zooming from Japan. So I usually have a class
Wow.
at this time, but today I don't, so I can join you happily.
You have made more meetings than probably anybody, so do not apologize. And who else? Oh, he's trying to
Jeffrey's
get
here.
back on again.
Oh,
That
no.
swine.
Maybe you can
Oh.
block him.
I'm going to. I just did.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else hasn't been introduced? I'm looking.
Jeffrey.
I think we got everybody.
I think
So
we're good.
well,
No.
good.
Mhm.
Well, let's talk about this book because this book, I read the manuscript and then I read the book and then I think I looked at it again before Girlfriend Weekend. And then I listened to the audio and I'm telling you, the audio is a trip. I highly recommend, even if you've bought the book, to get this CD because if you're in the car, time goes so fast when you're laughing. But you'll also stop at every pastry shop on the way because I was drooling for those fritters or whatever, blueberry fritters. I was just going, I need a donut so bad I could just die. But it is the best listen aloud book I've heard in a long, long time. And Marilyn, how did this book come about? Let's talk about your book.
Well, first I've got to tell you, in the book, there's this blueberry donut that's the size of my computer that Kathy's talking about. And last week I was on with a library and this woman got on and she said, I have only one question about your book. Is that blueberry fritter real?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, it's real. She goes, where do I get it?
Where you got to bring them to Girlfriend Weekend. We want a blueberry fritter.
And I literally gave her the address of the place.
Oh my God. If I come up there, I'm going there. How far is it from your house?
Anyway, crazy to leave you. I wanted to write about a younger woman. My first two books were about a woman in her late 50s who's married to the bra czar, and suddenly he decides after 33 years that what he really needs is like a 23-year-old Argentinian bra model, and leaves her, and she has to, make a new life. And so those were the first two books. And then I just decided I wanted to write somebody younger. And I suddenly thought, what would it be like to be left at the altar at like 41?
Jeez.
Because, you know, when you see stories about people being left at the altar, they're always kids.
Yeah.
So I invented this character, Lauren, who comes from one of those families where they're always involved, but it's like just too much. Not like my family at all.
No, not at all.
No, not a thing. I made it all up. And she's
No
an
current
advertising
lawsuits.
executive. What'd you say, Thelma?
No current lawsuits.
Yes, right. She's an advertising professional. She has a fabulous job. She has a fabulous apartment in New York. Everything's great, but she really wants to get married. And she meets up with a guy who she knew from camp when she was
Yeah.
a kid, and jumps on that wagon and then gets left at the altar by him. So the rest of the story is her realizing what she really wants in life, recognizing what she already has, and making a new life for herself.
Right.
And the story came from a lot of places. A lot of it has problems with weight and food and eating, which comes from me. The mother in the book is a fat shamer. I come from a heavy family, so we had no fat shamers, and because we'd have to shame everybody. And
Stop
but I
one moment.
had so many friends who were in that situation where their moms were, you know, thin and crazy about what they look like. So I use that to tell what I hope is a lot of truths about how it is to have a weight problem.
Marilyn, do we know a Julie B? Julie B.
I don't know who that would be, but it sounds okay.
I'm afraid to let them in because there's not a last name, so I can't. I'm just too afraid. So
Yeah,
okay,
I don't know Julie. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so that's where I started. And the characters all just sort of came up as I went along. And I just kept going.
And the thing about the audio is the voices. The woman who did the audiobook is fantastic. And the
She
mother,
is.
I just love the mother, the way she talked. And it's delightful. And you know, it's just like when you read a book, you get one vision. When you hear a book read out loud, you get a further, clearer picture. So now all we need is the movie, right?
Oh, we need
And
the
then
movie.
Tomorrow.
We
come
need the
into full
movie.
focus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
well, we don't want to give anything away, but this is a crazy trip. Now, my other favorite thing is there's this wonderful porta potty business in here, which has me in hysterics because, you know,
I wish I could tell you where that came from.
where did
The
that?
only thing I could come up with, and Doreen will know about this, is at the reservoir in West Hartford. There's a porta potty that I've used a lot when I walk around when I walk around the reservoir. And maybe I thought it up in there, I don't know. But I wanted it to be something. I always pick businesses for people to be in that are fun and unusual.
Right.
You know, I
Well-
mean, I had the Brazar, I've got the porta potties. I always look for a business that, you know, you just laugh at the thought of the
Quirky.
business.
Do you know there was a porta potty business just down the road from me when I lived in Jefferson? I mean, that flatbed truck was going by all the time, and I laughed and laughed. And then at Girlfriend Weekend in Nacogdoches, the city brought in a pink trailer to add extra bathrooms to the convention center for us.
Right.
And it was just like you described in the book, you know, it was all dolled up. It was pink and it had, you know, all this stuff in it, you know, they thought girls would like, and it was lit up. It was hilarious. But anyway, you have, you know, do you dream about this stuff at night, Marilyn?
When I'm writing a book, I walk around, I can barely hear what anyone else is saying.
Wow.
You know, when I'm into it, like right now I'm into my next book, like in a big way.
Okay.
And like anything that interrupts me is like an annoyance.
Okay, I won't be calling you this month.
Don't
Okay?
call me this week.
No, no, no.
But
So-
you know, that's when I get really deep into it. It's like I walk around the streets in New York and I'm like, I'm just thinking about what should be next in the book. And the other thing is I sort of self-test because I have to make myself laugh. So,
Yes.
you know, as I'm writing something, like if it's a funny part and I'm not laughing, I don't think it's that good. But I also belong to a workshop and I read my stuff. So it's funny that sometimes I'll think something's really funny. Nobody laughs. They laughed at the next sentence.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like so interesting that, you know, that maybe people need the delay or, you know, I already know what's coming. So,
Well,
but I love making myself laugh. I love making other people laugh. And my first book, when I was writing it, everyone said, you can't make it really funny. You'll never get it published.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, this is true. So I toned it down, and everybody who reads all my books says the first one isn't as funny as the others because now it's become that people read me because they want to laugh.
Absolutely.
So, you know, in the first book, I have her mother dying and a lot of sadness. And I did that because everyone kept saying you won't get published if you just write a funny book. So
What did they know?
yeah, they
That
knew
became your trademark.
Let
But
me,
yeah, and that's the funny part. It became like the trademark. And I was in advertising, so I immediately realized with Lift and Separate that what was setting me apart from like a million books about a woman whose husband leaves her.
right,
There are thousands of them. Is
right.
that I was being funny about it, and that I
And-
was cheering people up. So I followed that with the next books, and that was easy because that's naturally how I write.
And you know, everybody goes, well, I didn't know it was funny, but you are. I mean, you'll just say that. And I loved Robert Redford's latest post you did right before this event holding your book. I thought, how apropos, you know, that's just, and George Clooney and all that. And I've always done that too. I mean, you know, I've got my photo up there with Shah Rukh Khan. So anyway, you have a great sense of humor. And I'll tell you, it is harder to make somebody laugh out loud reading a book than cry. And I can't think of anybody that I picked in all my years, maybe Celia Revenbark, who's hilarious South Carolina author, but it is really hard to make people laugh, and you have a gift. And
Thank you.
keep it coming because we all need good hard laughs these days. So I'm really, really excited about what you're writing next. But
Yes.
I want to keep talking. What is it you want people to take away from this story without giving anything away? Crazy to leave you.
I just think all of my stories are about a woman who finds her own strength. Like you've just got to pick yourself up. I mean, stuff happens, and I'm not talking about stuff like wars or, you know, being a refugee or the really, really internationally hard things.
Right.
But stuff happens in people's personal lives. And it's the person who picks herself up and says, okay, what am I going to do? This is not going to destroy me. And that's the story in all of my books. There's somebody who got a bad deal from someone else.
Right.
In their family most often, and has to say, okay, what do I do?
And you know,
I
another
just love the strength that you find in the kind of woman who knows how to recover from that.
But there was also another inspiring story with the sister who was a not a movie star, but an actress
opera.
that was on a soap opera. And I love the part that, talked about diabetes. And, I just went through that horrible,
Right.
part of my life during COVID. Now, nobody wants to get full blown diabetes during COVID, but I did. But I love the part. And I think it's also the way you addressed it, people will pay more attention to those signs that,
Mhm.
About that horrible, thing that happens to people that, really maims and kills them. So, but her character was really one of my favorites because she had a very sharp sense of, she was snarky,
Mhm.
and I just loved her. Did you base that on anybody you know?
No, the funniest thing about the character, why is her name going out of my head?
Well, I couldn't
Margot.
think of it either. but
Margot, it begins with an M.
Margot.
Margot,
Oh.
I was sitting and writing this book, and one day I invented Margot, and I was going to have her come after the wedding because that's the kind of sister she is. She wasn't coming to the wedding, but she's coming to the disaster. And the reason she's coming to the disaster is she needs a place to stay.
Right.
So as I'm writing her, and I used to watch soap operas when my kids were little, like I never watched anything but General Hospital because I was afraid I'd get hooked. But I watched enough General Hospital to think she should be a soap opera star. And I started writing her, and Kathy, I thought maybe she should be the main character because she was so interesting.
Honestly, I think
Yeah.
you could write another book using her because well, I'm not going to give anything away, but I like her. I like
Yeah.
Mark. And I think you might think that after maybe this book or something, because I think that would be an interesting,
And
because,
she's,
we don't really hear stories about actresses other than memoirs. And I mean, a fictitious story about a soap opera star who goes on after, things happen. I think that would be fascinating. So, anybody else who watched soap operas? Young and Restless was mine.
Young and Restless.
General Hospital,
Yeah.
Luke and Laura.
I've
Linda
seen
It's
them all.
kind of a religion, like you watch the one.
Yes, you're right. Well, I wouldn't even put the TV on 5 minutes before GH went on because I was afraid I'd get caught in the other one and I couldn't afford that kind of
Right.
time.
Couldn't afford that time.
But one time I added up how much time had I spent in my life watching
Oh,
General Hospital?
yeah.
I did. I added up all the hours because I had started in college and I watched until my kids were like in high school. And it came out to like a third of my life I had been watching.
Oh, no.
No.
No wonder you have this kind of sense of humor. Oh my God.
No.
Oh,
But
my
I
God.
haven't watched it in maybe, 15, 20 years. I stopped. And yet I see things about it on Facebook and nothing's changed. It's like the same people.
You can stop a soap opera and go back and now watch the reruns where years have gone by and you know exactly what's going on. That's the craziest thing about a soap opera. And we've had 2 soap opera stars come to Girlfriend Weekend, Gloria Loring, and we had Tina McPherson, Tina. What's Tina's last name? I'm blank. Okay, I'm pulling on Marilyn. But anyway, Tina she has a sense of humor like you two. She's really funny and a lot of fun. She even had a tea party for us in New York when I took my Pulpwood Queens there. And she even let us look in her.
What happened?
Oh, dear.
Frozen?
Kathy froze.
Kathy's frozen.
Gross.
Oh, geez.
This is
She'll
the
come
book.
back.
Kathy, come back to us.
Come back, Kathy. We need you.
Well,
Join
Marilyn,
the
Does
circle.
anyone have a question? So, Kathy, we don't really need
I
you.
do.
Does anyone?
I do. Hi.
Hi.
It's great to meet you, Marilyn. I just laugh I just got to the point where Lauren smacked that rat in the face. And I love it. But I just want to thank you for in my novel Pause, it's kind of a similar thing where I use humor to lighten the load of some, heavy domestic type things. And you just don't see that so often. And I really like it. I love what you're doing. So yeah, I wish
Thank you.
people would, think about that a little bit.
Oh,
Did,
she must be trying to get herself back on.
Oh, here she is.
There
there
she
you
is.
are.
Are you back?
I just went off into La La
The
Land,
ether.
but I'm back and my internet went out. It's storming here. It's starting to
I'm
storm.
curious about this one, about the ending, and were there alternate endings?
Yes, yeah. Okay, so this is interesting in terms of the development of the story. So I originally wrote it with her marrying the guy at the end. Okay, and I'm
chauffeur.
sorry if I'm ruining the ending for anyone. but-
Don't tell what actually happened, but okay.
Yeah, I'll tell what didn't happen.
Okay.
And when I submitted the manuscript to my publisher, Lake Union, they come back with all these suggestions that you can take or you don't have to take. But I'm sort of the kind of person who takes it because I figure they know more than I do. I mean, I got a really late start in this business. I published my first book when I was 63 years old, and now I'm 14. And so they didn't want her to get married in the end. They absolutely did not want her getting married in the end. They said she has to go out there on her own, and you can't even. I said, but she is out on her own. No, you can't. It just, people will know what happened. You don't have to say it. So of course this is like 50 pages that I worked.
Oh,
That is now out of the book, and it ends a totally different way than
Oh,
the original
Marilyn,
way that
do you know Joy Jordan Lake?
Yeah, of course. She's
Okay,
in Blue
let's get
Sky
her.
with me.
She's here. She's joining. Okay.
There
Joy
she
Jordan
is. Where is
Lake.
she?
Yay!
Where are
Hi,
you?
Joy.
And she won't be doing something naughty. You
Hi,
know,
Jo-
that.
oh, she's. I don't see her picture, and she's gorgeous, so it's such a waste.
connecting
Joy
to
and
audio.
I are in the Blue Sky book chat a site together. We're founders of it, and if any of you have not seen it, just go to Facebook. It's Blue Sky Book Chat, and there she is. I told you you were gorgeous.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi.
Proud of you.
And so we so that's how we met, although we knew each other over the years from our books online, but now we get to speak to each other on Zoom.
Cool. Jim Martin just joined us too. He's one of our authors.
Hi, Jim.
Hi,
Hello
Jim.
there.
Glad to have you here. We're just having a very interesting night.
Kathy invited a friend.
No, it wasn't me. We had a new
A
man
late night
show up.
friend.
Yeah.
I did not invite that person. It was an accident letting him in. I thought it was one of Marilyn's friends.
Oh, yes, we're dating.
Lucky Marilyn.
We're dating.
You better tell your sharp object about that.
No, I better tell George Clooney.
Oh, okay.
So does anyone have any other questions
I
that I
do.
can
I have
tell
a
you about
question.
the book or getting it published or anything?
Marilyn, I have a question for you.
Sure, Angie.
Where does humor come from? And how do you weave it in writing? Because my writing is very different from, what I see in humor and stand-up comedians.
You have to see the humor in things and be willing to laugh at things that other people would not laugh at. Okay.
yeah.
And I was discussing this with another author because we're going to do a seminar on how to put humor into your novel, any novel, like your novels. And it doesn't have to be someone who's trying to write a funny novel, but somebody who just wants to have humor in it. And the first thing about humor is like the same thing as writing a novel, observing. I mean, there are people who walk into Starbucks, put their head down and see nothing. And
That's
a
right.
novelist, they're looking around. Hi, Patricia.
Hey, Marilyn.
Hey. Um, um, a novelist is looking for a story. They're looking for copy in Starbucks. Okay. And like if you hear someone next to you telling the story of their divorce and you're a novelist, right?
Mhm.
You're done. You're listening. Okay. A humorist listens to it and sees what's funny in it. Okay. Like something they say, a friend of mine was getting divorced years ago. I mean, a long time ago. We're going back into the 70s. And we were walking down the street. She was married to a guy who was absolutely loaded. Okay. He was 10 years older than her. She was my age. I was like 22. And she said, and the Mr. Coffee had just come out.
Oh, my goodness.
And she said to me, I don't care what he does, I'm getting the Mr. Coffee. And like
That sounds
someone
like
else would think, oh, how ridiculous can you be? I just found it hysterical. Okay.
I do too.
So it's really like hearing it the way, what's funny, hearing it and then inserting it. And humor can be in anything. It could be in setting, if you're describing a place, it could be in the character, it could be in an object, like a lamp that's for some reason in the wrong place. The lamp is in the wrong place. It doesn't belong there. So you can add humor like into almost every part of a book. And it doesn't have to, it's bad if it's continuous. It needs to be like sort of spiced in there.
Yeah, I agree too. So,
Well, I have a comment I'd like to make.
yeah,
Oh,
if I
you.
may. Marilyn, something that I've always meant to say to you, I'm always comparing you to Irma Bombeck, saying,
yes.
you are the new Irma Bombeck, and for sure you fill that role so beautifully.
I'm
But
going to
also-
stay here forever.
Yeah.
You know how much we love you.
Yeah.
But just when someone else mentioned tonight about how you put humor into a really, kind of heartbreaking situation. And it reminded me of Nora Ephron in Heartburn, where
Yep.
her marriage was falling apart. And there's so much humor in that story. And it hadn't sort of clicked before, but I thought, it's a very similar approach to what you were doing in Crazy to Leave You.
And
So-
I
Yes.
Does everyone know
also-
Patricia Sands? She's also on Blue
yes,
Sky
love
with me.
it, Patricia.
Yeah, fantastic
I'm delighted
author.
you're here.
And if you
Yeah.
want to read about France,
Yes.
No, we're not talking about me. We're
well,
talking
I
about
have
you.
to give you the plug. If you want to read about France, her books are fantastic. There, I did
Really are.
Thank you.
it.
But don't you think humor too? It's like after some time goes by when something happens to you, like right now, everything that has happened to me during COVID is hysterical because nobody could have as many disastrous things. So now somebody said, how do you handle it? And I go, well, just like my brakes went out coming back from Atlanta, Anju. And I had to get them fixed when I got home. But anyway, to me, it's just like, oh, wow, my brakes went out. What? Well, I was just driving down the interstate. I didn't need them. But when but I just thought it was hilarious. And my friend that's riding with me that I picked up on the way, and she goes, Kathy, she goes, I don't know how you can keep a sense of humor about this stuff. And I go, well, you either laugh or you cry. And I rather laugh. And so that's why I read books,
For sure.
because her books always make me laugh out loud. And, and I love the bras and the porta potties and the pastries. Everything is just hysterical to me. But I don't know. I think when you go through a lot in your life, I think we see humor a little bit different. And I'm so in tune to Marilyn's sense of humor. I can just look at her and laugh. And not that she's,
Thanks. That's what my children
that
say. They
sounds
look at me and laugh.
but I just see your face and I go, yay, I'm going to laugh. I'm happy. Who else wants to talk?
Come on, somebody.
Oh,
I'll add a
Sarah.
little. Hi again. Yeah, just still on that topic of humor. I found that some of my characters are just, they're a little off of the mainstream. And so they're viewing life almost as an alien anthropologist.
Mhm.
And that's where this absurdity comes in of, like, how could this weirdness happen? So that's a source of humor too. I think Andrew was,
Mhm.
you
Well, the
could
best
try
source
that.
of humor is the truth. I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, really, truth is humor because, when they say there's nothing funnier than the truth, it's
Well,
totally
you can't
true.
make that stuff up.
Right.
Because
Exactly. Yeah,
the true
exactly.
things that happen in life are just like people go, that didn't happen. I go, yes, I did see a pig running alongside my car on the highway. And they go, no.
Yeah.
And it was a big black pig with a big black Labrador trying to beat me. And I looked over and I go, that's a pig. And people go, that didn't happen. I go, oh, yes, it did. It did.
So
Crazy
Sarah,
thing.
if does it make a difference where the character is as long as if it's truthful, people relate to it?
Right.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Have you seen the film My Name is Otto that was based upon the book with
No,
Tom?
I haven't seen it.
Well,
Have you
seen
seen it?
It's really
Stella's a movie critic. Did you know
I know,
that?
and you know what? I haven't
Oh,
seen
Velma.
either of them. I'm a movie critic and I haven't seen
She's
either
critic. She's a
Oh,
critic.
Scandinavian Otto or the Tom
Tom
Hanks
Hanks.
Otto.
both fantastic. But Tom Hanks, it is kind of a quirk, kind of like Elizabethtown. If you've seen that, you know how it starts out. It's like that. But my friend and I watched it last night. I go, did you find the movie sad?
Uh-oh.
We lost her again.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Bandwidth.
Oh, dear.
that's too.
Well, I can
Maybe
tell
she'll
you, we
come
just
back.
watched the movie last week, both of them. And the Tom Hanks is very good in the American remake, but
Mhm.
honestly, we thought the Swedish version was even better.
Really?
Yeah, so you should watch them both if you have the time.
I didn't read the book. Did anyone read the book?
Yeah, I read the
I read
book.
the book, yeah.
Yeah,
I
loved
watched
it.
the Tom Hanks version a few weeks ago, and it was surprisingly such a well-told story.
Yes.
And it's like what Marilyn's saying about finding the humor in the sort of
Love
perspective
Tom
or
Hanks, and
lens.
this is the first time I've ever said I was just cracking up through the whole thing. But it's really great. Great movie. Speak up.
Yeah.
Are we froze?
I
Your
have a
face is
question.
frozen, but we can hear you.
Is it still there? Okay. I kept going out and I was going, my internet's on, but like I said, it's about to storm. So go ahead.
Ah,
Marilyn, I just want to say that what you do so superbly is that you take the darkest moments and you find the humor in them. And that is why I think you will always have a following.
Oh, I love you.
That's well,
I'm sending you flowers.
okay. I'm expecting
No, you need to send her earrings or luggage tags.
I'll send you
luggage tag earrings.
You're in for luggage tags.
Just hook them over your ear and you have earrings. I learned that from all the Indian movies I watched. They hang them over their ears. Okay.
Mm.
If you're standing there at a funeral, which I have been many times, and somebody makes you laugh, you just are going to love them for the rest of your life. That's one reason I married my husband. He makes me laugh.
Mhm.
And that's what you do. You take the darkest moments and you find the humor, the little kernel of humor, and you don't patronize and you don't you don't offend. Well,
A little.
it's humor. But and that's why I think people will read your books forever because it's so needed. I just wanted to say that. Love
mhm.
you.
That's wonderful.
Kathy, give me your address so I can send the flowers.
You better.
No,
might
I'm
even get
serious. I just I'm gonna send you my email address. We'll talk and you send me those earrings.
Yeah, you got them. You
Okay.
got them. I just tell people who got on late, like Patricia, I'm going to send luggage tags so everybody can turn them into earrings.
These are just I'm wearing them to girlfriend weekend when we do the panel.
Oh,
Yay.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize, I
Thursday,
just
Friday.
noticed now what you have
Yeah,
There
she
are
took the luggage
luggage
tags.
tags that I've hung
Yeah,
all
I
over
see them now.
and they match my
That's
hair.
brilliant.
They match your hair.
See, you just hang them over
And
they
mine has been around the world too. I took mine to Berlin.
There you go.
My tag.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, mine has
and you
been
can
to
do
Asia and
something
back.
with these too.
Excellent.
Bunny ears for Easter bunny ears. Well, whatever. Okay. Okay.
Marilyn, I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, congratulations again.
Thank you. Where are you?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Oh, no. I meant where are you in the screen? Now I see you.
Oh.
I see you. I have such great pictures of you and Robert and me at,
Oh,
oh my
GoFundMe?
God, they're so fabulous.
We had a lot
At
of
the
fun.
Pulpwood.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my question is, your protagonists are similar in so many ways. You know, they're funny, they're resilient, they persevere, they're strong. How do you make the voice different throughout your books?
The voice of the main protagonist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my first two books were the same protagonist because I wrote the story of Lift and Separate, and my publisher said, do you want to write a sequel? And since I had taken 10 years to write Lift and Separate, and I had 1 year to write the next book, I thought, yeah, I'll write a sequel. Let's
I
see,
love
the
the way you
characters all exist, the setting all exists. So Husbands is a sequel. It was easy to make the Lauren in Crazy to Leave You different because she was so much younger. And her sensibilities were so much younger. So in that case, it was easier. The book I'm writing now is about an older woman who's a grandmother, and her dream is to just go watch her. She's a podiatrist. She has a business. But her dream is to go watch her granddaughter in the Berkshires. And when she gets there, she finds two other grandmas there, ruining her good time. And as well as the fact that her daughter's marriage is just completely going to pot. So she's entirely different, also because she's an older person, she's dealing with different things. Her sensibilities are different than, my other characters.
Thank you.
But my characters, all of my characters are Jewish and have a sense of humor.
Mhm.
And that's just because that's who I am. And so
You're Jewish
I
and you have a
I
sense
don't
of
do
humor.
history or research. Like if I can't find it in my house, then it's not going to be in the book. Like I
love
hear
it.
people
I
like
envy
Thelma,
you. I have huge envy.
Thelma like
Me
will
too, Thelma.
research a book for like a year before she can write it, and I save the year,
Yeah, good plan.
right?
I am with you.
Yeah,
I-
that's why I look so much younger.
exactly.
That's it. Thelma, I think Marilyn owes us a round of drinks somewhere.
Oh,
I
definitely,
know.
We
definitely.
have to come down and find you. We might have to go on a road trip.
Yeah.
That
Girlfriend weekend.
Bladewater,
Sounds good.
Texas, you all.
Bladewater,
weekend.
Texas, January. What date is it, Kathy?
It's going to be the 12th through the 14th, always Martin Luther King weekend. So
Woohoo!
in Bladewater, and I'm working on getting all the information out to you, but you can get your packages now. The price will go up May 1st, so please get your packages now with your memberships. But it's going to be outstanding. We're going to have theater on Friday night. We're going to be going to Jackson's Cozy Theater, which is a New Yorker, has bought this theater, and he's going to put on a show. And I'm not going to announce it yet, but it's going to be amazing. And then we have our 2 days of panels and keynotes and everything. Marilyn will be a keynote as long as I'm running
Oh,
weekend.
and I wasn't
Marilyn
even gonna go.
is our comic relief, because God knows, after everything we've all been through the last 3 years, we need a good laugh, and she's always there for us in one way or another. And I just can't imagine you now doing it without you, you know?
Oh,
And
I'm
really,
gonna cry.
no, we're going to laugh about it. We're not going to cry because I just cried at this event with Andrew. So I'm ready to laugh now, not because it was beautiful, you know, the event with Andrew in Atlanta. And I was treated like I got to tell you guys what happened. Vinay Rao, who's another one of my authors, is a newspaper publisher there. And she invited me to a brunch at her home, came and picked me up in her beautiful car with my friend Joanne Tidwell, and anyway, we get there and she said, I'm going to have a surprise guest. And I said, from the newspaper? And she goes, well, and the doorbell rang. And she said, here she is. And I'm going, and you know her? And I'm thinking, well, I know everybody that's coming from Atlanta, but they're going to be at the event, but who's this? And in walks the door, Madhura Javed, who is a classical Indian singer that I met online on Facebook. And I've been posting her singing her beautiful music over and over. And she shows up with flowers and a gift, and I got to meet her in person. And the best part about it is after our beautiful Indian brunch, she sang, and she did a Shah Rukh Khan song, and I bawled my eyes out and everybody was crying. But you know, this is what I love about the conversation with each and every one of you. Every experience is a memory that I will treasure forever. And I don't care how many I do. Every time I walk away from these things, I go, you guys saved my life during COVID, because I live in the woods and they're with 3 cats and nobody's here. So you are all my lifesavers. So thank you for coming tonight, and especially to Marilyn, who's become one of my dearest friends and calls me and cheers me up. And
Did you see I'm now calling you my QFF?
no,
Queen friend forever.
okay,
That's adorable.
Oh, Kathy's frozen again.
Oh, dear.
Can we?
Coming back?
Marilyn, bring her back.
Come back, Kathy.
Do your thing.
Kathy. I don't know if I should end it while she's frozen. Would that be like really rude?
If she comes back and we're all gone, she might
Oh,
do that. She might.
I have a question if you have the time, Marilyn.
Yeah, sure.
What was your editing process with your publisher like?
Okay, so my publisher, they, when I wrote my first book, I thought, I spent 10 years writing this. They're going to change "and" to "but" and put in a couple of commas, and it's going to be published. And then, lo and behold, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
So at Lake Union, you go through a development process. So you give the book in, or when they buy the book, whatever it is, they edit it for the story, which is not the same as editing it for. I'll give you an example. In my first book, they told me that the children were too mean, and that was editing advice, right?
who's telling you this stuff? Who's telling you?
The editor my editor is telling me in the first version of the story, I made the children too mean because the woman has so many problems that her children being so mean is just like too much. So I thought about it and I changed it. I made them nicer, even though they sounded exactly like my children when they were too mean. And I change it, just like da-da-da-da, she says something a little nicer. And I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be great if you do this with your own child? Like they come to the door, they say something totally obnoxious, and you go back out, I'm rewriting this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to try that.
So you go through a whole developmental process. I think I talked about how I originally written Crazy to Leave You with an ending where she got married. And so that takes quite a while. I mean, it took a couple of months, I think. And then you give it back in and it goes through more of that. It gets edited quite a few times before you get down to what I thought had to be edited, which was my spelling.
Mhm.
And at that point, you're not with an editor, you're with a copy editor and a proofreader.
Mhm.
The editorial, that's the development editorial, is by your editor. So,
Wow.
Leads me to another question, Marilyn, as you have to cycle through this, through all the, do you ever get tired of reading your own work?
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I'm down to the final proofread, I just feel like, there's like a column where you can say yes or no.
Yeah.
I just feel like, go away, yes. Yes, you do get, not in the developmental stage, I don't think, but I think like on the third proofread,
Oh, yeah.
you would agree, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thelma?
I do. I agree. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
And by
Yeah,
the
you
time
just
get-
can't, you're going blind to it. You're just like, I can't even look
Yeah.
at this another time.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
But then you're trusting the copy editor and the proofreader. I mean, there comes a time when but then there's always someone who, after the book is out and there's nothing you can do about it, writes to you on Facebook to say they found an error in your book.
Always.
Always. It
Oh,
never fails.
Well,
Always.
anybody who reads the New York Times these days, or places where they used to have great copy editing, there's
Right.
so many more mistakes. So, as many mistakes as we have in our books, it's still less than in those big newspapers that didn't used to have mistakes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
So
they
yes,
also
the editing
have-
process could
point.
take, takes a long time.
And they also have autocorrect that changes what you wrote correctly to something else. Yeah.
Oh.
And now what they have is something that corrects any language that's considered language you shouldn't use anymore, some of which you can't
Oh.
even believe they think is language you shouldn't use anymore.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I told you, Marilyn, just be there and be purdy. And it kept
Yeah.
saying, no, you can't say purdy. And I thought, honey, I'm from Texas. I'm going to say purdy.
What?
Yeah.
Kept changing it. I was frustrated. Yeah. Anyway, that's great. So, when's the next book going to be out?
In 2024, I mean, the earliest it can come out is spring. I haven't written
Okay.
the whole thing. It's due, the manuscript's due September 30th.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So,
You'll be busy.
yeah, I'm going to be a busy person.
But it beats the
Well, we're
opposite.
And
pre-ordering
I don't have a
today.
name for it yet, which is really the big problem. I just can't. Usually I think of names really easily because I was in the advertising business, but this one I'm having a really hard time thinking of a name. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
hopefully it will come one day.
You will come up with one. I'm assured of that. I bet you come up with a doozy.
That
Do you
makes me
have
feel better.
any weird professions or anything in this book?
Well, it's about grandmas, but I don't want to use grandma in the title because then nobody who isn't a grandma will read it.
Well, I told
Right.
you, Grandma.
Right. I did. Yes, I have that written down. I never even erased your phone message.
Grandma. There you go. There's lots of them. Down here, it's me, Ma, and Peepaw and all that weird stuff. But I'm Mama Cat. What do your grandkids call you?
My oldest daughter's kids just call me Grandma Marilyn, and my youngest daughter calls me Mama.
Hmm.
So
Well, there you go. Mama
I'll just
N.
call the book Grandma Marilyn.
There you go.
Bubala. You can call
Bubba,
it
yeah,
Bubala.
Booby.
Bubby.
Bubby. I like Bubby.
There.
Booby's a great name.
It is a great name. Use it. It makes me laugh. That's a good one. Anybody else? Comments?
I want to thank everybody for being so nice and saying such nice things, none of which are true, but that's okay. I really
Some of them are
appreciate
true,
it.
Marilyn. Some.
Well, you paid us well, Marilyn. We,
Well, my mother used to say that when people complimented you, that's like a no-no. Okay, you can't get complimented because it's going to give you bad luck. So if someone said like, what a pretty baby, she'd go, tie a red ribbon. Like to the stroller.
What does that mean?
So I guess I have to go tie a ribbon.
Like,
That's
is that
like
like knock on wood? It's like, don't give them
Yeah,
a
it's
can
like
of
an
heart,
old
or is it
wives
something
thing.
different?
It's like an old wives thing.
Yeah,
Ah,
Oh, that's
my mom
funny.
used to say, I hope to shout. I go, what does that mean? Well, I hope to shout.
I've heard that.
Never heard anything like that.
I
That's
am
a
sorry,
good
folks,
title.
I'm gonna have to leave, but I love Marilyn, I love Kathy.
I love
read
you.
all-
I love you too, Thelma. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Thelma.
Bye.
Great to see you.
Well, you guys, I just want to give you updates before we go quickly because I know everybody's busy. But first of all, thank you, Marilyn, for coming. And you know, if you haven't gotten this book and the audio book, you need both of them because they're
Oh, look, I
fantastic.
have one.
And she'll even, if you're
Oh,
really
look, I
nice,
have another one.
if you do book reviews, she'll send you these luggage tags or earrings. And then second, the price for Girlfriend Weekend is going to go up May 1st. I only have a few of these left. It's called 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty, #1 internationally. And I'm giving away until these are gone, copies to people who've signed up for Girlfriend Weekend. And if I run out, I've still got some Think Like a Monk by him, but he sent these to me, you guys, and I didn't even ask. And he's the #1 international best-selling author in the world. He's my favorite podcaster, and I get a message from him every day. And this book is fantastic. It'll be our February international read. So please sign up. And then I also want to tell everybody that next week, we're going to have Daniel joining us from California, and it's How to Date a Flying Mexican. And I know you're going to laugh, but it's really, this author is, I've known him for years, and I picked a lot of his books. It's a short story collection, and it's based on, you know, his Mexican heritage and the mythology, and there's magic realism. And I love the cover. I want to just wear this as a shirt. It's so beautiful. But he is too. And he's on LinkedIn, and check out his posts because they're pretty amazing. Daniel A. Olivas, Olivas. And he'll be here next week. And then I'm meeting with the businesses in Gladewater tomorrow, and the whole town is rallying, you guys, about y'all coming. It's the antique capital of Texas. And Marilyn, Stephanie's store.
Yes, I can't wait to go to Stephanie's store.
And my art is in her store. My art is also in the wine shop, Fun and Finer Things. There's tea rooms. There's one of the largest used bookstore, vintage bookstores I've ever seen. They have over 100,000 books. Called Gladewater Books, and the owner is marvelous. But there's so many little boutiques, and you're gonna love it. And I'll
Where's
be
the nearest, what's the nearest airport, Kathy?
the nearest airport is Longview, which is just 15-20 minutes away, but you have to get on a little feeder plane. So most people are going to fly into Shreveport or Dallas, and it's just straight I-20. You know, it's really not that far. And you can share rides and everything, but we're working on hotels, and there's bed and breakfast and Airbnbs there. And we may have one that's going to offer shuttle service. And then they're also working, because they're so happy you're coming, they're working on probably providing a trolley that will take you from the convention center, which is a little ways out, to town, like during lunch. And you know, I'm going to give you long lunches so you can really see things. And it's very historic, and it's a railroad goes right through the center of town, and it's very charming, like Jefferson. I think you're going to have a blast there, and I'm excited about it. And it's only 30 minutes from my home. So if anybody stays longer and wants to come and see the little shack I live in, I welcome you. So it's like, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but my friend's here right now, and she goes, your house is like a museum. And I go, well, I think it's pretty cool. It's my refuge. So any questions, email them to me. Go to the website to get signed up. If you have not sent me your latest book, get it to me now because I'm reading. And I mean, I've already got 10 books picked for various things. International Book of the Month, but I won't make those announcements until after we vote for Book of the Year. So, but I might let you know if you're really nice to me. But no secrets are told until, you know, we make the formal announcement. And but it's going to be a lot of fun, as it always is. And it's our 24th anniversary, you all. Next year's the 25th. And by God, if everybody doesn't come, I'm just going to be pounding on your doors going, where are you? Calling you up. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know, how many of you have already signed up? Kathy, you have, right? Marilyn, and you, have you signed up? I think a lot of you already have signed up. But it's going to be great. Jeffrey may have. I haven't had a chance. I've been on the road and haven't looked, but it's going to be amazing. And you're going to meet some, and this time I'll be able to get media there because having it back in Texas turns it back into, oh my gosh, she's back. And it's been a while. So I've alerted all the media and they know you're coming. So anyway, any questions?
Thanks, Kathy, for inviting me.
Thank you. I'll be
That's
wearing
great. Nice to see everyone.
I'll
Thanks,
be wearing
Marilyn.
my
See everyone.
earrings
Great
proudly.
job, Marilyn and
Thank
Kathy
you.
both.
It will be, it's recorded. Hopefully I'll get that one little bit off and we'll have it up by tomorrow morning. Okay.
All right, now I'm curious about what that was.
We had a man show up naked.
Oh,
He wasn't just naked. He wasn't just naked. Okay, James. So
okay.
it was like, how do I get this off? Oh my God. So I've never had that happen before. I know it's happened at an author conference somebody told me about, and they couldn't get it off either. But if you ever see this Martin guy, don't let him in. Okay. All right, everybody. Not you, Jim.
Yeah, I hope that.
No. I saw you. And if you don't have your picture up with your name, put a picture because that's kind of a big clue. A lot of times if you're on there, if I'm not sure, if I see your face, I pretty much know you're one of us, but, and Marilyn helped me, but thank you, Marilyn. I love you.
And she's
Bye,
gone.
everybody.
She's gone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.